In this, what we said was that if you have a system with GS as the transfer function, if you give an input here, got a output y of t, and then depending upon the transfer function, this input gives you an output, and ideally we want the output to be same as the input, because if you put a sudden change here, the same sudden change must also be reflected in the output. Classically, control people call such a black box as a plant. As a generic name they use, and the plant could be a manufacturing plant or a chemical plant or an automobile or a aircraft or whatever it is. So, they use the terminology that this is called a plant, and the plant is input is given to it and output is given. The output has to follow the input faithfully, and ideally that if I put a step here, a sudden change, and then there should be corresponding sudden change in the output here. But because of this GS sitting there, this input which is the step will be modified according to the transfer function g of s. This will never be same as this. Can I do something to make this as close to this as possible? In the last class we said that by putting a controller here into open loop, then this system together with this system in cascade hopefully will make it yt is equal to r of t, provided h of s is equal to 1 by g of s. But we also argued that it is always not possible to design the system h of s, because there are zeros in the right half plane on g of s. There is no way of synthesizing the zero h of s. But if you are if fortunate circumstances you do not have that, maybe you can get away with designing the HFS in that particular case. But generally what do we do? What we do is to apply feedback, and the merits of feedback you already know. Take this output here, subtract it here from RT, and feed it into this controller here, and the output of this controller then drives the g of s. That means, I am modifying the input r of t which was earlier to a new input, such that the new input along with the g of s will give you the response y of t following the r of t. Similar to what we talked in the modern control systems, where we are trying to change the poles of the g of s by doing a feedback, so that we put the poles wherever we desire, so that we get the response of the type we require. The same idea here, but it was done in a frequency domain in those days. And there is nothing good or bad about classical control theory versus the modern control theory, except there is a different way of doing things. Okay? Don't think that this is bad and that is great and so on and so forth. It is a way of doing a control system design. This reason for doing this change was advent of the digital computers. And in this kind of looking at it, at that time there were no digital computers, the only computers that were available were analog computers, and analog computers were also very limited capability. So, you could not do very big designs, but that could only be done in frequency domain. But when the arrival of the digital computers, then the computational power has continuously grown up, and as a result of that, the looking at the system in terms of the state variable representation, which requires solution of first order differential equations, is more amenable to digital computation, and with the power and speed available. So, it became a natural tool for designing systems using digital. So, in that spirit, it is not that this is a bad thing or that is a good thing or something, it is a way of doing things. So, classically this is what we did before. So, now the error here E of t is equal to the reference input R t, what we want, minus y of t. In frequency domain, E of s is equal to R of s minus y of s, right. And then the output here after the HFS will be, let me give some name to it, U of t. So, U of t will be equal to anyway intertime domain right, which in frequency domain will be U of s is equal to E of s into G of s. I am sorry, HFS. Similarly, y of s will be equal to U of s into G of s. Combining all these equations, I can find out what is y of s by R of s, right. Because y of s is equal to U s times G s and this is equal to G s into E of s into H of s, and E of s is equal to bring this back here and you will get the same classical relation G H G s into H s divided by 1 plus some people erroneously make statements which are not correct, that if you put a plus here then it got a positive feedback, and if you put a negative here you get a negative feedback. These are all erroneous statements and nothing to do with this plus or minus here. A positive feedback and negative feedback implies the stability of the system, whether the system is still stable after this or whether the system is growing and blowing up. The output gain is more than the input, more than the previous gain. So, the difference in the usage of the word of positive feedback and negative feedback must be understood. That is, after doing this feedback, if this ratio goes up compared to the previous value, then we call it positive feedback. If this value comes down, it is called negative feedback. And that can happen independent of whether the sign is a plus or a minus at certain frequencies. So, do not get carried away by the statement that if the plus and the positive feedback and a minus, nothing to do with the plus or minus. Because at some point the yt could be positive or some point yt could be negative, and so positive negative does not make any sense here. Okay, anyway, so there is a feedback, and if this happens to be the denominator we discussed in the last class, that if the denominator is such that the denominator polynomial of this transfer function, mu transfer function, happens to be having zeros in the right half plane, the system becomes unstable.